All right, today we're going to be upgrading the lights, the front lights on my 23 Gladiator. So my specific Gladiator Mojave came from the factory just with the halogen lights. It did not have the LED upgrade, unfortunately. So we've got just regular old halogen headlights, fog lights, and turn signals. Today we're going to be installing new headlights and new fog lights. So let's get to it. Now, if you have a Jeep with halogen lights or you're thinking about buying one, just know from me, these halogen lights suck. I mean, they absolutely are pretty terrible. They're not very bright. So going to LED should be nice. Our 4xe Gladiator, 4xe Rubicon, that has the LED light package. Our other 21 that we had the LED light package. And it's just night and day difference between how much brighter the LEDs are. So I'm really stoked to see how this aftermarket light's going to look and how it's going to perform. All right, so the LED lights I ended up going with are from a company called Suparee, and I was able to get these off of Amazon. They have a ton of different kinds of lights. You can get RGB lights that change a million different colors, different designs, all that kind of stuff. I went with sort of like just a kind of a plain set that's LED, does have an LED halo, and then it will also have the orange LED turn signal around the light too. So I've already kind of popped them open and been looking at it and messing all around. They do come with some instructions. Now, the only thing I found in the instructions, probably because these are the same instructions across a lot of their different headlights they offer, they don't tell you exactly how to hook up the halos. So essentially, you're going to plug and play just like normal. Like, for example, on this headlight, this is going to be our factory connector. But then you've got these two just kind of loose wires that you've got to connect yourself. So yellow is going to be for the turn signal, and the white's going to be for the running light. So you have to wire those in, and I'll show you guys how to do it. It's going to be pretty easy. I did end up purchasing some fuse taps. Now, these did not come in the kit. I bought this just a whole kit up right here off Amazon. These are just a couple. This comes with a bunch of different sizes and all that really stuff. Well for what we're doing. Super cheap, like so on this $5, I think, like really inexpensive. So I'll put the link for that down below. The link for these are also down below, and these are also a pretty inexpensive headlight. Now, first thing we got to do, get our hood popped open here. So on this JT, we already upgraded the taillights, so we've already got some LED rear tail lights, and now we just need and then to get access to the headlights to be able to remove them, we've got to get the grill off, and this is a pretty simple process. If you've never done it before, there's just some little pop clips here on top. I think there's 6 of those. So for these, you can use like a pry tool. I just like to use a screwdriver flathead, and you just grab it and lift up on the middle tab a little bit. This is the time, guys. Just get it in your headlights. If you want to put in a grill insert, little dude, you're already going to have to take. So pretty simple. Keep it together. Of course, we're going to reuse the same hardware, and then just repeat the process for these other. I think we got 5 more left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 5. So 6 in total. Now that these are off, you just take it and pop it right out. I'll also go ahead and link the video if you guys want to see the flag grill insert. I think I've done at least a couple videos on that, but pretty easy to do. Don't be scared. Nothing will break. Pulled off like probably 6 of these, or 6 times I've done this, and never had any issues. All right, at this point, it's just a matter of taking off the 3 10mm bolts that hold on our headlight. And then we've just got one connector with a little clip, just not even a clip, but just a little button. Just push that guy in, came right off. You saw how easy that was. So that's it. Now you can take these things and throw them in the garbage, or better, sell them on Facebook. All right, you should be able to just get in here, pop her out. When you go to put in your new headlight, you just make sure that this bottom bracket, because these are right and left specific, so you just make sure your bottom bracket is closer to the inside of the vehicle. That's how you know. You also see the DOT sign here is facing up and everything. So it's going to go in just like this. Now, the one difference with a lot of these aftermarket headlights is you can see how it's a lot skinnier. The other one's like, this wide. And so part of the reason is just because they're LED. They don't need as much room. They have a big heat sink back here. But these do come with new fasteners. So to be able to adjust the headlight up and down, they've got a little spring that'll go back here, and then your bolt will go in forward. They give you all the hardware. So you're just going to go ahead and kind of get that all lined up, try not to drop all the hardware and lose it, and then just screw it on in. And then for right now, we can still connect our headlight just like stock. So you heard that little click, pops right in. And then this we can worry about later because we'll still have plenty of access to it from below. But actually, maybe before we even bolt it on, we'll just give it a check and let's check if the high beams work. All right, so headlight works. It's probably blind in the camera. Cool, high beams work. But yeah, that's looking pretty sweet. High beams work. I don't know if it'll work with. Now I think before I get too far to bolting all this back together, I'm gonna just mess with this for a few minutes and just try to understand kind of where I'm gonna run the wiring for all this to make it clean and tidy and all that. And then I also just want to double check. I want to make sure that the turn signals are gonna work for this guy. And I'm going to run also double check the back of your fuse box just to make sure so it's all the same. Basically, to do that, again, you just take off the cover. Mojave Gladiator, 2018 and up JLJTs. Yellow fuse box is just right here, right against the passenger side firewall. I think it's F52. That's for the cigarette lighter. So that's going to be our power for the daytime running lights because that only comes on when the car is powered on and shuts off when it's off, right? So that's what we'll use for DRLs. And then over here, this guy right here, this is I believe 107. Yeah, so 107, this is going to be our left turn signal. And then this 20 amp right here, 109, this is our right turn signal. So left and right. And so again, we're going to add our little fuse taps and we're just going to stick our fuse tap in there. We got to figure out which size, one of these mini ones. And so you simply just take your fuses, pull the one out, put it in here, put in another one, an additional one. That way you have your own circuit and you just pop those in and then be able to connect these wires to the wires on the headlights. So it'll be pretty simple. There you go. Got that 20 ampere for the cigarette lighter. So in your fuse box, you've already got this little fuse puller. So you can use this or you can use a pair of needle nose, whatever. But now again, for these fuse taps, all you do is I just took, that's our 20 amp OEM fuse that I stuck in there, right? And that's going to just go for the normal cigarette lighter. And then this is your additional fuse that you're going to stick in there. Now again, this doesn't come in the kit. This additional fuse did come with this little kit that I bought off Amazon, and you probably only need a 5 amp fuse because all we're adding is the lights. All right, so I've got these all just kind of in place for right now. And you can see I also marked through there, but all I have are 20 amps. So I've just got two 20 amps in here, and then we're going to go ahead and connect that. So for right now, we're just kind of putting it in. All this does fit under here. I was a little bit worried about this, but I just put the cover on. It works fine. So eventually we'll tidy this up. Once we get to the very end, we'll maybe put all these together. I do have some braided loom so we can kind of make it look nice and look pretty, and probably figure it'll come out this way and loop around, something like that. We'll kind of see. We'll see what's going on with the wiring. You know, we may have to modify it to fit, but we'll see if we can make it work. All right, so what I've got going on here, just got our headlight set up here. I've got our white and yellow wires just ran across just for this one headlight, just so we can do a simple test. Now I'm gonna go ahead and cut these connectors off. So they give you these if you wanted to use them. I'm gonna end up just having a regular wire that's gonna get crimped in here. But for testing purpose, I'm just gonna cut this and then strip it back with the wire strippers. So again, if you don't have a pair of these, you can get these anywhere, but it's probably cheaper to get them on Amazon. So these are probably $10 on Amazon. They work freaking awesome. All my electrical stuff. I mean, I've got just all kinds of electrical stuff. Almost all of it comes on Amazon because it is tremendously cheaper than going to your local auto parts store, Walmart, or whatever. So, and you can buy a lot of that stuff in bulk. Now, again, if you had headlights that didn't have these turn signals or the high beam or daytime running light things, or if you didn't even care that much about that function, you could just simply continue on. So first check I'm doing is just fast forward through the video and continue to the end where we do have the headlights illumination and put everything back together. Because the headlights work, right? All we're doing now is adding this additional function, and I think I'm going to have to start the vehicle probably to get the actual daytime running lights on. So I'm going to do that right now, start it, and then let's see if that ring glows white. All right, that's working too. So we do have the, all right, so now that we've verified the lights work, we're good to go. And I guess just to try it again, just to make sure we're not crazy, you could just continue to make the wiring beautiful, you know, get it ran so it's not going to get melted or any issues like that, right? So we know and just be finished. But in our case, we also have to do the LED fog lights. So we're going to get to those in a little bit. But as far as wiring goes, those have the same wiring requirements. So we, again, need to also make sure that the harness here goes up and plugs into the same connections that we've already made at the fuse block. So again, don't forget when you go to crimp these, you know, these are our headlight wires, right? And then each one of these splits off to go left and right headlight for both of those. And we need to do the same for the fog light. So basically when we crimp this right here, we're just going to crimp both of these together. So thinking initially two leads coming off, headlights, one that goes down for fog lights, I'm going to have this harness over here for kind of tucked right underneath this plastic. I am not sure if this is going to be quite kind of right on top of the radiator. I'll try to keep it kind of off the radiator for the wiring to be able to. It'll also be that harness, so it'll be pretty well protected. And I could try to zip tie it out of the way. So spend a lot of time now to make sure that your wiring and stuff is solid, right? You don't want to drive this thing for a year, and then a year from now you start having issues and stuff's melting and grounding out and giving you problems, right? So do it once, do it right. Take an extra 30 minutes here to really make sure you do a great job. And if you solder anything, if you crimp anything, put tape on it, you know, make it a pretty good connection. There's plenty of YouTube videos on how to do that kind of stuff if you're not sure. All right, so the passenger side or right side headlight also confirmed that the blinker works. So again, we had to run an additional wire over to our right side fuse, which is part of the relay. You hear the relay clicking on and off. So this is cool. So again, when you're running the wires, you know, you basically just need one power for all four, you know, the two headlights and the two fog lights, right? Just one power so you can put both wires, place them in there. And then for these, you need to just have one wire for like right side, for example, going to both the right, whatever side. Let's say, sorry, right. So right headlight, right fog light, right? So that way it all blinks, and then left and left. So basically crimp, and then 2 wires coming out of this one crimped, and hopefully it's all long enough to fit. Otherwise, we'll have to do some wire extension. All right, now I think before I finish doing all this wiring and stuff for the headlights and for the fog lights, I'm going to go ahead and get these fog lights installed. There is a little bit of work to put these on. Now the instructions tell you that I just went and turned my steering wheel bumper off to the right, which you can do. It's not that hard. I've done it before. So again, to get this off, I think we only need a few bolts, whatever. But I don't think you have to do that. I watched a couple other videos, and it looks like some guys just, that might be it, as far as just 6 push pins. So if we can get the push pins off, that's your connector right there, I think, for this side fog light. And then I think the other fog light wire kind of runs over this way somewhere. So we'll have to kind of see what it looks like. If we need to, you can also take off this plastic piece, which again, just a couple quick little pins, and that might give us some access to get in there and disconnect it if we need to. But then hopefully we don't have to take the bumper off. But I think the bumper's like 2 or 3 or 4 bolts. There's not much to it, but hopefully we can just do that. So I'm going to try to do that real quick. And the reason why I'm doing this, I want to get that all in there. We'll verify it all works just like we did up here, but that way I can kind of start to understand how long the wiring harness needs to be in case I need to cut some of it. You know, like I'm guessing this side wire harness might be fine, right? Because it's a shorter run from the battery, but then this one needs to kind of come up and come all the way over. You know, so we might have to extend some wires. So I want to make sure all that's done, and that way I can loom it all, make it beautiful, and not have to change it after I get it all cut. All right, so that took like a minute or 2 minutes. It was really, really easy, except kind of that last fastener right here was kind of hard to get to, but still 2 minutes done. So once we're under here now, again, my Mojave is a 2023, so I've got 4 bolts here. I think they're 8 millimeters. 1, 2, 3, and then there's a 4th one right here, and then we just disconnect the connector. So that was easy. So boom, we just take those 4 bolts off. Now I know it mentioned in the instructions some of these had 3 bolts. So these lights have the provision for, I guess either way, it must be like 1, 2, 3, or the 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 like we have. So I guess it does both. So I don't know if there was a model year change somewhere between 2018 till today or whatever. But yeah, it says they work for both. Also, I did notice 4 bolts are actually marked 7 left and right. So, you know, I didn't see a left and a right anywhere marked on the headlights. All right, another thing to point out, in this kit is going to be your left side with 2 different wire harness adapters or connectors for the fog light. So right out of the box, this one was already connected just like this, where it's just 2 bare wires where you'd have to like wire it yourself, right? And then in this middle part, they have this connector, which I was trying to figure out what it's for, but this is actually to connect here. And then this will actually plug into this factory connector. So it's just a little bit of an adapter here, and you just go ahead and plug that in, and then that plugs into our fog light. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay, and you're also going to have some reassembly to do. So the way these came out of the box, they just kind of have this bracket for the 4 bolts sitting on top of this one. So I was thinking it was like a whole assembly, but no, this actually pops off. This is our bracket that we need, and then this one we got to take off. So you can see, to get this off, to get it separated, you're going to have to undo this screw, and then that way this thing can come off. And then same thing, this little provision for the screw is on the back of here, right? So should be pretty simple. Just we should be able to get this thing bolted in. When you go to remove that other bracket, you'll see there's these little plastic ears right here that are on the fog light. So I just had to take a screwdriver and then kind of pop it over. I was able to get that old bracket off, pop the new one on, and then you just pop that screw back in there. And then I just kind of tightened it until it looks straight. All right, so for this side only, I went ahead, just started the car. I've got it all just kind of mocked up again. Put all the covers on. You can see, right, we've got 3 turn signals now, fog light, headlight, and this guy. Pretty cool. So and this guy. So I also did try it without the turn signal. So our little our white LED halo works too. So we're good to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and just get this other side off and get this one swapped and going. And then we'll make some final determinations on the wire harness. You know, if you need to chop some stuff up to put these in there. I mean, it's just amazing. Like the new one's like a pound, 2 pounds. This is seriously like a couple ounces. It's just weird to have something so flimsy. It's funny. All right, when you guys are going to put this connector on, so this is a little adapter they give you that's on the end of the fog light, right? And then it connects to the stock one. So it does fit. Just see how there's like these little notches on the bottom, 2 on the bottom, there's 1 in the middle, and then 1 on this other side. So line those up, and I had to kind of like wiggle it, push it a little bit, but it does just snap right in there. All right, so we got both fog lights working. The little rings working on all these guys. This one, and then once it did connect, cool. I heard the audible and last click, thing to validate, and it worked. So, you know, if you have a little trouble with that, and we don't have turn signal, that's because my turn signal fell out. My other turn signal fell out. Okay, so that's working. Hard to see, but that is working, and that's working. Okay, cool. So everything's validated and working. Now we can wire it on up. All right, one piece of advice for these fog lights: be careful when you're tightening this bracket. So this is literally just kind of a piece of ABS plastic. It's not super strong, but you can see like where we've got flush contact all the way around with the fog light against the bumper, but we don't exactly have completely 100% flush with this bracket, you know, and we don't need it, right? Like it's totally in there. You can't really see the other side, but like there's an air gap, you know, same thing on this side, more so on this side than this side. But, you know, I don't want to go too far because you don't want these ears to break off. All right, so what I decided is I think that on the just kind of get them in there snug. It's already switching going through this plastic, and the shortest run from this plastic fuse panel. There's plenty to hold the lights. Should be totally fine. I'm going to leave this one the way it is. That way I should have plenty of slack and some additional, you know, room to move it out of the way and all that good stuff. So what I started to do is I just taped the 2 parts together here where they split off. So that way we'll, again, separate to have, you know, one for headlights, you know, white and orange for headlights and white and orange to go down to the fog lights. I'll get that all kind of taped up, separated, and then we'll put a loom over it, make it look pretty, and then we can get it going. Now, what I think I'm going to need to do for this other one is I think once the loom is, like once these are together here, like if they can live right here, then there's plenty of room for it obviously to connect to the headlight, and then there should be enough slack for it to also come down here to the fog light. So that should be fine. Now the problem with that is once we kind of move this down, let's say in here, you can see this is certainly not going to be long enough. So that's pretty simple. So to the end of these 2, I'm just going to go ahead and extend the wires and just add, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet. and then I'll kind of cut it down right at the end once we get it all ran, and then we can get a final kind of tally, crimp that all up, tape it, all that good stuff. So that's what I'm kind of thinking in my mind. So I'm going to get started, get this side done first, and then we'll come back and we'll start to do this one, add on some wire. All right, guys, so here's this little finished harness for the passenger side. So I did buy that loom, but the loom I bought is 1/8 inch, and I was just thinking, like, how the hell am I going to wire these things through there? So anyway, this what this is not electrical tape. It's tape. It's like loom tape or something. So anyway, you kind of like make a loom. It's cloth tape. It's like sticky cloth tape, but it's, it's for wiring and stuff. So it kind of gives it the same look, protects it. I just want to make it so it's, you can't notice it. It's kind of incognito. So the way I'm running this is I just kind of took the wiring and stuck it up through here. And then it looks like I can come on this side of this little air box here. And then, I don't know if you can see it, but then there's kind of a hole right down there so that it'll just come right here. So I'm just going to have it kind of run right along, and then we'll somehow terminate it into the box and, probably zip tie it to one of these wires. So that way you won't even see it, all that good stuff. And then I'm thinking the other side will somehow come this way. All right, so on this passenger side, I've got this thing kind of finalized. I'm going to put some tape around these connections here. I'm not a big fan of these spade connectors. Like in 2 years, these would never come apart. You're going to end up probably having to cut them. So I'd prefer a connector. But I just don't feel like wiring up a connector right now. So we're just going to keep it. We're going to tape it. So I just ran it right through here. Up on this side of this little box here. And then, right there. And then I just kind of moved this soft plastic. And then it's just running right here. So can't even tell. It's not factory. It's just right over there. I've got it already kind of plugged into the turn signal, so it's still TBD kind of where this is going to come out, and then that's going to be our power wire for the halos that will also get connected to the other side lights, and then this will be turn signal for the other side. So we got this one kind of done, so I'm going to go ahead. Fog lights are already installed totally. I've got to get this in here now, get these all tightened up, and then also kind of figure out the routing down here. Basically though, it looks like I've got it kind of coming where there's already the stock wiring right here for the fog lights. So my plan is just kind of have it run right there. I'll finish taping this up so you won't even kind of see it. And then hopefully it'll just blend right in, look just like stock. All right, guys, so like I mentioned a little bit earlier, when we go to put in the new headlights, we've got to put on this new screw with the spring. And the screw actually is a 5mm, takes 5mm Allen key. And so we've got to try to get all three of these guys on here and not drop the hardware. But the spring goes in the back. So the spring basically, faces the like the body of the Jeep, and then you have the screw come through like that, right? So you've got to kind of get all three of those on there and then jam this thing into place. You do have like this little hole here that's one of the locator pins, so that'll help hold it in place. So I'm going to do that right I've got now. The fog lights wrapped up, so I've got the cover back on, and you can't even really tell. This is the wire loom coming down right here, so I just have one little zip tie holding it on, and all the stuff's just covered up, so that's easy. Got this back in here. Now I did have some trouble trying to get these bolts lined up, primarily these top two. If I would get this one in, this one had really a lot of trouble, and vice versa. So it's something to do with the angles, but played around with it for a while, got it. We're still gonna need to go out and test these things and kind of see, what adjustments might be needed, right? So we'll kind of wait on that, but all right, so this side's good, it's working, it's wired, and so now, man, halfway, all this wiring stuff takes forever, but like I said, to do it right, I think it's worth the extra time. I'm just hoping hoping everything goes well and we don't run into any issues down the road. So I'd rather take some more time to do it. So I'm going to take this harness now. We'll get started. And I'm just going to, I think I was able to find some wiring for it actually. Take it over to the bench. And yeah, you can see I found some white wiring. I think this is slightly thicker, so that'll be just fine. And then I just got to dig through, find some yellow or orange. And then we'll get started. We'll match it all up. So I extended this harness by probably about 4 feet. I'm assuming there's my splice. So should be plenty. I'll probably have to cut some off or whatever, but yeah, it should be good. So let's go try to get this laid out and get this going. All right, so I started right here pushing this thing down, and we've got this connected here. And then I've just got the wires running from right here just straight down, basically the same as I did on this side. And then it'll just come out. It's kind of dark, hard to see, but yeah, it's right here. And it'll just come out. Basically same spot as the other side. So that should be pretty simple. And then now my idea is kind of running it right along here underneath this panel. There's actually a wire, can't see it, but there's a wire under there, and I can just zip tie it right to it and then just kind of probably follow, actually maybe even follow along the same exact wire path as the other one. All right guys, here we go. So I took it for a quick rip and I did some adjustments. I think we got it pretty good. I don't know, it actually looks pretty high in here, but it was definitely down quite a ways and it was too low. So I'm gonna try it like this. Might have to play with it some more so we're not killing people, but yeah, seems pretty cool. Let me show you what we ended up doing here. So my camera died earlier, my phone died. So we got this all wired up. So you can see this wire here, you know, just went down. Got a couple zip ties, no problem with that, worked out perfect. Then I got the other wire right underneath here. And then I got them all kind of connected, all back in one loom. And then I just took some snips and kind of made a little snip cut in here so that this would all close and everything. But look at how, so all three of these little dudes kind of fit all in here and worked out pretty sweet. So it's kind of what I wanted, right? You look under here, nothing's like super obvious. It's been modified. I mean, obviously look at that. You're like, what is that wire? But you know, it still looks nice and clean, all that good stuff. All right, so first impressions. I mean, the lights themselves, they just look way cooler just with the kind of the black in the middle, you know, versus the complete chrome halogen deal. So definitely like the way it makes the Jeep look. It's killing me that I haven't put these on yet. I have these in a LED smoked version, but then I forgot that I did not buy the corner lamps. They make like a smoked corner lamp too, so I need to get those. But I do have this. That's gonna be a different video because we gotta like pull the whole freaking splash shield off. It's a whole involved thing. So, but yeah, it looks really, really cool. Super stoked. So here it is with just headlights on. No, yeah, I don't have the vehicle running, right? So there's no daytime running lights, no fog lights. It's hard to pick it up in here. I'll show you guys outside, but here it is, you know, everything all lit up. And you can see, it looks cool. It's definitely got that LED, you know, HID look, that bright white light versus like the more yellow of the halogen. So it looks really cool. I mean, at first glance, when I walk up, it kind of looks like our Wrangler 4xe with the LED package, except for how terrible these look, but otherwise it's awesome. All right, so outside, you can kind of see the halos. Yeah, look at that. So it looks pretty freaking sweet. So again, for a couple $100, pretty happy. Install took a bit longer than I would have liked, and it had to do with the halo rings and the turn signals. So if you didn't want to put those in, I would say this would take you like a 30-minute job. I mean, they're very, very fast, but it took me a few hours because, you know, like I said, well, I'm filming, but I'm also having to go back and forth, you know, doing a bunch of the wiring stuff, which just took forever. All right, the final thing I want to show you guys is just kind of a quick comparison. So this is my Gladiator on the right here with the Suparee LED headlights. And then this is my wife's 22 Wrangler Rubicon 4xe with the LED package. So it's hard to pick it up because you can actually see the subtle differences in real life. They're very similar. I would say that this is more blue, the factory 4xe, and this is actually a little bit whiter. Of course, it's got the bigger halo. You know, these kind of have like a little bit of a factory halo. You can't really see it. The camera won't pick it up. But certainly the fog lights are much brighter here versus the factory ones. And the headlights, I'd say, are brighter too, especially kind of there's like this the middle part here. You can't really see it, but there's like the middle stuff. I mean, that's just really bright. And I think my wife's headlights are higher, so I probably do need to adjust these up a little more. But let me stand back here and look at what we got for lighting. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell where one ends and what. I mean, I would say definitely my Jeep seems to be brighter compared to my wife's. Yeah, I mean, look at how dark all that is, right? So yeah. So I think these Suparees are going to be pretty awesome. And I wanted to also show you guys the turn signals. I forgot about those. Hard for the camera to pick it up, but yeah, you can see these are perfect as far as sequencing. You can see like the halogen's like just slightly off, and that's because it's halogen versus LED. So once I swap that out, all three of these should be perfectly in sync. And I really like it. Just some extra lighting up front for safety. I also want to let you guys know that the company that I got the headlights from, Suparee, they reached out. They're actually going to be at Sema this year, coming up in just a couple weeks in November. So I'm going to put a link down below. If you drop by their booth, they're doing a bunch of giveaways, a bunch of cool stuff. So I would advise you to check that out. Unfortunately, I won't be making it to Sema this year, which is a shame. But, you know, like I said, check out Suparee's booth. These guys, besides the headlights, they've got like, I mean, they have a bunch of different headlights, different lighting stuff, ton of options. If you want RGBs where you can have remotes and colors for your headlights, they've got all that kind of stuff. So if you happen to be at Sema, check those guys out. That's going to be it for this video, guys. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll catch you boys on the next one.